Recently, I was recalling the first time I attended the Divine Liturgy. I was a college student of about 22, and I was in Seattle at the University of Washington attending a conference. We had Sunday morning off, and so I decided that I was going to explore Seattle. And while I was in downtown Seattle, I went up onto Capitol Hill for the very first time, and I heard a bell ringing, and looking in the direction of the bell, I saw onion domes. I had always been fascinated by Russian Orthodoxy. So as I approached St. Nicholas Cathedral, I realized that this was an Orthodox church, and people were heading in for the Divine Liturgy. So I decided to walk into this cathedral, and I beheld for the very first time the Divine Liturgy. It was unbelievable to me. I didn't know until years later that the celebrant was none other than Bishop Nectari of Seattle, who is one of my heroes to this day. He was wearing blue vestments and a blue crown, so it was obvious as I look back that it was a feast of the Holy Virgin. I remember almost as though it was yesterday when the bishop opened the north deacon's door to receive the antediron that was being handed to him for the proscomidi service. And I remember that the man that handed him the platter of the bread to be offered received a kiss on each cheek by the bishop. It was a tender, beautiful view that I had seen for the very first time. I'd only seen it in French movies, if you would imagine, but to see this kind of exchange, it just seemed so wonderful, so Christian. By the end of this liturgy, I remember feeling both elation and sadness. I was elated at having witnessed the Divine Liturgy, which seemed so ancient. It seemed like a commemoration of a service that had gone on in the 1st and 2nd century, which of course later I found out indeed it was. But I also felt a certain sadness because I was not a Russian, and therefore I felt like, well, I guess I can't be Orthodox because you have to be Russian to be Orthodox. I was a part Scandinavian and part Scottish, and so I didn't see that it could connect with me, and I felt a certain sadness. But that service stuck with me for years. And of course, is as obvious to all of my viewers, I eventually did embrace the Orthodox Church as my own. And that's when I realized the truth that we Orthodox are not about being Americans or Russians or Greeks or Germans or Scandinavians, because our nation is the church, and our King is none other than Jesus Christ. So to this day, I give thanks to God for that experience, where I saw the priests and the bishop as being almost courtiers in the throne room before a king. It was worthy of a king. And indeed, the services of the Orthodox Church are its expression of worshiping before the King of Glory, Jesus Christ. So for those of you who have not yet made the leap, I invite you to come home. Come home to Orthodoxy.